All right, so I know a lot of you guys wanted to see an update with daytime spectrum and night spectrum. In my opinion, I think daytime spectrum is probably the most beneficial, though the nighttime spectrum is what brings out the colors. If you'll notice, the frog spawn that's on the right hand side is covering that entire area. The fish seem to go to it, especially the two tomato clowns. Moving along, my SPS, this center column gets a heavy amount of light. So if you look at the coral in the top left corner, it has purplish tips, in which we'll see on the nighttime video. If you notice, that empty space is for the new coral that's set to arrive the next day. This was filmed the day prior, due to time and space, in which a lot of corals you'll see in the nighttime video are moved around because I needed to fit new colonies in there. Like that clam, he moved to the ground. There was a couple corals added to that blasto rock. I moved that torch maybe about an inch to the left because I wanted to get that plate, that red monopora plate that was behind it, into a different location. There was some new fish added to the system. I added a Tomini Tang and a blue jaw. This chalice, I bought it for $1, and it's already starting to get its colors on the edges. I angled my pump up just a little bit, just to ripple that surface, not to the point where it's incredibly noticeable at the surface, but I like it. I don't want the detritus. I noticed a film sitting on the top, so I angled it up a little bit to try to minimize that film that was sitting on top. But if you notice, daytime spectrum is very, very bright. This is like my high noon, so this is the highest that I can go. And everybody has their feeders out, because in the daytime I actually feed, well, my doser feeds in the daytime as well as the night. I feed in the day, and I feed when lights are off, about 2300 or 11 o'clock. Moving on, you notice that long beak wrasse that's swimming around. That guy is he's a beneficial element now, but he's really, really big, and they're known to eat crustaceans. But moving on to the nighttime. So nighttime spectrum, you'll notice everybody is really, really colorful, and the center where the descendants are hitting is heavy in the red spectrum on the blue side, in which I might take those red LEDs off the blue side, because I'm noticing, well, I can't see it from the naked eye, but in the camera you can see that red spectrum hitting it. Corals are starting to chill out. There's that trigger that I was telling you about. There's the Tomini Tang as well. All Tomini. He likes to play with the tomatoes. There's that wrasse again. If you notice, I got a lot more green chromasis in there. A lot bigger green chromasis. There's a new coral, that millipora colony, that's right above the second green slimer towards the bottom. There's a Aussie acropora prepped up, a green Aussie prepared. I prepared that spot for him because I knew how big he was, and I knew when he was coming, so I prepared it. Let's see what else I can see. If you notice, there's hammers that are growing on the other side. There was one head of hammers growing on that side of this frog spawn, and now there's 4 or 5 heads now. And my fish, they love to follow me because I feed them, so they know, okay, when he comes around, there's going to be food. We're hungry. Feed us. If you notice from the daytime spectrum, that green Montipora was moved from the other side, and the chalice was put in its place because that chalice was so big it was falling. So the fish really like to swim behind it. For what reason, I don't know, but it was falling. And as I sit and put this camera down, I'm gonna go and grab my ladder. A ladder is the only way that I can get to the top of this tank and or turn the pumps off, because I'm short. So short people problems. And because this tank sits about almost 6 feet off the ground, so I have to get my ladder. I'm gonna walk right back over, and I'm gonna pick you up, and I'm gonna show you a top-down view from the corals that you can't see looking directly into it. So if you notice, corals go all the way from front to back, and you can't see all these corals from the top, but I just know that the colonies are there. If I look down, I know the colonies are there, and I spot free from the top anyway, so I get a good chance to look at all the corals in the tank. Sorry about having a center brace on my tank, which makes it hard to see these SPS colonies that are behind the other SPS colonies. I'll try to get a way to get a view of them, but if you look down, you'll see my color is very, very good, but it could be better. I feel as though with the proper amount of dosing, the proper specifications, anything is possible. Right now, I'm like trying to work on the minor elements rather than the majors. Everybody works with calcium, alkaline, and magnesium. I'm starting to measure for trace elements, measure for boron, strontium, small chemicals that you just replenish in a water change. I'm trying to measure for them. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you want next.